Kia ora, welcome to Central News for Thursday, the 11th of September 2014. I'm Anne-Marie Case-Miller. The growth of Auckland could have pluses and minuses for Waikato, with the region needing to be ready to meet challenges and take up opportunities it presents. That's a key theme of a report on recent Council-commissioned research presented to Waikato Regional Council's Strategy and Policy Committee this week. Some of the key findings indicated particular potential pressures in North Waikato, but also impacts in the east and south of the region. The report said the Regional Council needed to keep an eye on any pressure for high-quality agricultural land in North Waikato to be used for activities not of an agricultural nature. There's also potential pressure on water resources, aggregate resources, roading infrastructure, soil quality and natural areas in North Waikato. The report also said the influence of Auckland will continue to strongly support economic and population growth in Hamilton, which may become more specialised in specific goods and services as it continues to grow as a regional hub with strong transport connections. The report also noted that any changes can create opportunities for Waikato people. Dr Claire McGowan has been appointed Chief Executive of Waikato-based business incubator Soda Inc. and took up the position in August. Claire is an accomplished director with experience in the venture capital and investment banking industries. She also has experience in personally building and growing companies. Dr McGowan explains what she sees the pivotal point of her role to be.
Thanks. I think the most important thing I'm able to do here at SODA is make sure the team have the resources and connections they need to deliver for us to grow and accelerate businesses here in the Waikato and throughout New Zealand.
In sport, and Papamoa's surf lifesaver Natalie Peat is winging her way to the sands of France after a late call-up to the New Zealand team for Rescue 2014. The last-minute selection comes as Devon Halligan was ruled out of the life-saving World Champs due to an ankle injury. Peat missed out on the initial cut after being announced in the open training squad back in June. She's currently a Surf Lifesaving New Zealand High Performance member and last week set a new pool record in the 100 metres mannequin tow with fins in a time of 1 hour, 4 minutes and 43 seconds at the Surf Lifesaving New Zealand Pool Championships. Peat is no stranger to international competition. She was part of New Zealand's youth team for Rescue 2012 in Adelaide and last year travelled with the New Zealand team to the International Surf Rescue Challenge in Japan. Rescue 2014 runs from September the 13th to the 26th, with the Black Fins competition running from September 16 through to the 21st. More than 50 boaties have breached the RENA exclusion zone this year, prompting another reminder to keep to the rules. Bay of Plenty Regional Harbour Master Peter Buell says all boaties need to be aware of the exclusion zone while out on the water. A total of 56 breaches of the exclusion zone are recorded since the beginning of this year and 6 infringement fines have been issued. The breaches are made by various vessels, from bulk carriers and fishing vessels to launches and private yachts. Peter says patrols are continuing daily around the exclusion zone and anyone found in the 2 nautical mile exclusion zone may be fined the fixed rate of $200. And finally, a unique $3.5 million high-performance sports centre is taking shape in Bethlehem in Tauranga, with All Blacks conditioning coach Dr Nick Gill set to take charge. Construction of the 2,500 square metre, 2-storey Aspire Centre began in August and is expected to be completed by late February or early March 2015, says developer Mark Patel. Incorporating a state-of-the-art high-performance sports medicine centre, the 2-storey building will also include a swimming pool, recovery pool and cold plunge. It will also feature a conference room for educational purposes and aims to link closely with the Bay of Plenty Polytech and local secondary schools. All Blacks conditioning coach Nick Gill, who has a PhD in sports science, will be in charge of the high-performance facility. Time to take a look at the marine forecast now. Raglan expect a nor'east of 15 knots, rising early on Friday to 25 knots with rough sea. High tide 7 minutes to midnight tonight. And heading to the Bay of Plenty, nor'east of 15 knots, rising late on Friday to 25 knots with rough sea. High tide 22 minutes past 9 tomorrow morning. Still to come on Central News, we speak with two chaplains from Waikato Hospital, speak with Mayor Ross Patterson and find out about a RENA symposium. Kia ora, welcome back to Central News. Waikato Hospital's new Māori chaplain says he feels greatly privileged to participate in the holistic health and well-being of all people coming to the hospital. Pastor Sunny Potapu and Reverend Jan Calvert spoke with me recently about the role of hospital chaplains.
Primarily in the first instance, I believe it would be the Māori people that come into the hospital. As a Māori chaplain, I feel that I can endeavour to help them in their needs when they come here spiritually, but not only spiritually. I think there's a large part of the spirituality is related to whanaungatanga. So people come in here often feel a little bit displaced from where they've come from their geographical areas. Maybe just wanting to help them create an environment where they feel they can come in and it's not too far distance from them to be able to relate to a place like this. It's quite huge, and many of the walls are white and stainless steel, and so for them it's something quite different. But just really is the role of the chaplain, Māori chaplain specifically too, is to be able to help them develop in their illness to get better, to get to a better place for them.
Jan, you're part of a team of 6 of the chaplaincy team here at Waikato Hospital. Do you work separately or is it a collaborative approach?
We do work as a team. We work out of the same offices, so we're in touch and see each other every day. And we have our own allocated wards that we visit routinely, but then we need to hand over to the person that's picking up the next 24-hour on call or the weekend on call, or if we follow up on a patient that we know already that's in someone else's wards, we go. So it's very much collaborative.
Sunny, is it just patients that you support, or are you there for whānau members as well?
I guess patients again in the first instance, but the patients come with whānau. They're always connected to families somewhere along the lines. So you can be, while you're praying or speaking with the patient, there's often that whānau will gather around, and just making an opportunity for everyone to be involved in the health and well-being of that person. I think that's really important. I think also that it's probably part of something that in Māoridom that we're quite used to. So you will see a lot of whānau that will attend the hospital to see their families. Also, there's the staff. They may need some help at some stage. They may find themselves in the hospital, or they may just find themselves in a position where they may be needing some advice about spiritual matters, or spiritual matters even if it's not concerning them, maybe their families. Yeah.
Jan, Waikato Hospital is one of New Zealand's busiest hospitals. How many patients do you think you'd see in a day?
That's not so easy to answer. One of the things I didn't say was we have volunteers, 27 that come in and visit for 2 or more hours a week, we train them and supervise them. So you would have heard that we visit over 30,000 a year, I think, in the publicity that's been about recently. Personally, I like to think we do statistics monthly, and I would see around about 250 patients and all their families in a month, and staff that, I mean, our primary focus is on patients and families, but we're available to staff too.
Sunny, tell me about the ways that you offer support. Is it something as simple as just a listening ear through to something like a karakia?
Listening ear, I think, is really important in the first instance again. Karakia is equally important, and I think it's probably not seen as so as important. For Māori, te taha wairua, or the Māori side, tikanga, holding first to karakia is really important for us. It's really important that the whānau be involved in that as well. So it may not necessarily be me taking the karakia, But if I turn up and the whānau is there may be an elder, a kaumata or someone else that can partake in that as well. I think that's all part of the healing process. So you've got the physical healing going on at the same time, but also there's a spiritual wairua healing that's happening for the whole whānau that's watching in and looking to see what's happening.
Jan, the Waikato Hospital Chaplaincy Committee is seeking to raise funds to continue the support that the chaplaincy team provides. Tell me about the concert that you recently held.
We had a concert on Saturday night in the chapel at St Paul's College. It was a first. It involved choirs of older people, young people and soloists, and it was fantastic. The chapel was full and there was a real buzz at the end of the evening, so we're so grateful for the support that we had in that.
What other organisations have assisted with the support for the Māori chaplaincy?
Well, the Waikato Health Trust has helped this time. That's a charitable trust of the Waikato DHB, and recognising how vital Māori chaplaincy here is in the hospital, that they've helped for this first year of funding with Sunny's position, which is great.
Sunny, how do you feel your work history will stand you in good stead for this role?
Well, first of all, pastoring has been a large part of my life, and recently in the last 10 or so years, working with people, probably in the church, at the local marae, working again with the elderly, partaking in tangihanga or funeral events, unveilings, those kind of things have all sought to create the person that I am today, really, to be able to do what I'm doing. It's built that kind of character in me to work with people. It's a natural love for your fellow man and being wanting to participate in that. It's been good.
For further details on the Waikato Healthcare Chaplaincy Committee Charitable Trust, go to waikatodhb.health.nz. Still to come on Central News, we speak with Mayor Ross Patterson and find out about the RENA Symposium. Kia ora, welcome back to Central News. Almost 3 years have passed since the container ship RENA MV ran aground into Astrolabe Reef, causing New Zealand's biggest environmental disaster. Since then, there have been research studies into volunteering, cultural impacts, rock cleaning techniques, assessment, toxicity of marine algae and Mātauranga Māori aspects. But how many of us actually know what those findings were? Hilary found out about the Whakarongo Kia Tangaroa He Tohu Symposium.
Really be aware of the sea, respect the sea, and you'll get messages about things going wrong basically with the environment, and of course that's why we adopted it in the RENA situation.
On Sunday evening there'll be a workshop on Mātauranga Māori. What kind of impact has that had on in the wake of the RENA?
We were aware, as our trust was aware, that there's been a lot of research with the RENA. We've got good networks that involve a lot of the professors, researchers, and that there was no forum to report back to our communities, our coastal communities. And we thought, you know, this isn't right, because there were so many volunteers did a successful cleanup. By world standards, our volunteering was a successful cleanup. And so this is an opportunity for all those people to hear the research from the people who actually did the research on their communities, basically.
What can be learnt from Mātauranga Māori?
Mātauranga Māori is about, well, our Māori science has many dimensions. What's the dimension in this case? And that sounds a bit ethereal, because there are many levels of Mātauranga Māori, from the ethereal to the very practical. And that's why we say, you know, from the pipi pickers to the professors. So it's starting off at that level. Look, pipi pickers, what's the changes you've noticed about the environment that adds to our great body of knowledge? And I think it's just building on that awareness. I've not long been back from Alaska, and I went over to see what the long-term impacts were there from the Exxon Valdez spill. And what I learnt from them was, look, don't let complacency set in, because that's what happened over there. And when we were talking about our situation, they said that sounds like what happened there. You expect other people to be keeping an eye on things. No, everybody's involved in this because complacency is what causes accidents.
Do you think there was complacency with the arena?
Oh, I think so, definitely. I mean, for a long time we've known ships have been shortcutting, haven't been following established lanes. And during the, for instance, during the exclusion zone that was put on the arena area, at least 6 ships violated that zone just in that short space of time. So it's, you know, until we get something in place that says, no, you cannot do that, it's complacency. We need to keep working on it.
There will be 6 papers shared. Can you tell me about those?
A lot of them have got a connection to our coastline and things that we were involved with, and I say we, that's the coordinators in the Te Arawa coastal area. And so the first one was oil cleaning of rocks, and we used a Spilsorb, and that was the first time it's been used in New Zealand, and in fact in the world, for cleaning rocks. And the ICC people sent this Australian expert to come and tell us how to clean our rocks. We'd been doing our own method. And he went away and he said, oh no, I've learnt more from you. So that's one of the papers about rock cleaning. And it's simply about, look, use something environmentally friendly so you don't kill off the good bacteria that's survived the oil spill. So that's one of them. Volunteering, you know, talking about how volunteers' experiences. We've got some pure science like the oil impacts on algae and toxicity that's left behind. We've got the Māori model, which is a way of assessing, holistic way of assessing whether the environment has returned to a state of being. So those are some key ones. The leading people, of course, Professor Chris Battersall and a young couple of ladies from Makatu, actually a school student, and Tanya Gabbard, whose family it was a family affair, suggested we should use this oil spill method. So they'll be there. Dr. Kepper Morgan from Auckland University, Heather Hamilton from the Polytech. We've got some people from Waikato Uni, Auckland Uni, across the board. People whose research we think will mean a lot to the locals.
And there's going to be a paper about volunteering.
And I'm really glad to give a space for that because, you know, in looking at the science and the effects of the RENA, there were 4 effects. There was the environmental science, there was the social science, cultural, and the pure science. And there has never been a space provided for the volunteering. If we didn't have the volunteers that we did, it would never have been cleaned up, it'd be a mess.
Who is Te Arawa Ki Tai Trust, and why is it important for you guys to hold this symposium?
Oil cleaners, and we progressed through to saying, look, we better set up a trust. We had been working informally, but now's the time. Get over our complacency and let's start doing something to make sure our environment's protected.
The Whakarongo Kia Tangaroa He Tohu Symposium is at Otamarako Marae on September the 14th and 15th. Registrations close tomorrow, Friday, September the 12th. To find out how to register, email Raywin Bennett at actrix.co.nz. Up next, we speak with Mayor of Western Bay of Plenty, Ross Patterson. Kia ora, welcome back to Central News. Recently, the Western Bay of Plenty Council went on a road trip around the area to find out what residents think of council and what they think their role should be. Hillary spoke with Mayor Ross Patterson about some of the feedback given and found out the majority of the Western Bay community feels safe.
I think it's because of the relationship that they have with each other. They're not strangers, they know each other, they see each other on the footpath, they see each other at the library, local coffee shop, and they work in community groups and have that cross relationship and know somebody knows somebody else. So I think that's the theme, and makes people feel safe, that they can turn to their neighbours if they need be, and that the council is there also.
People like that small town feel. That was the feedback. So
No amalgamation then?
Well, amalgamation is just one part of better local government and getting efficiencies into local government. That's the big question. How we plan our way forward for the next 20 years is probably the question, and how we're going to deliver, look after our communities but deliver our services. And we can do that, and amalgamation is one part of it, but we can also, and we have already started with, amalgamating services and office services out of our buildings with other councils. So there's a whole gambit in that. And then you talk about the governance side, which is another area of representation, and that is, I think, the one that's going to be the hardest part to solve. How you get representation right across the districts and bigger structures, but everybody still feels they've got a voice. And that is part of going out and talking to your community and finding out what they want is part of what we were doing with this roadie trip.
Can you tell me a bit about the postcard aspect of the road trip?
That was sort of a brand that we put together, and little postcards that people could take away that depicted the nature and what we were trying to do across our district. And we actually took those same stills and put them onto the side of the bus in big murals. So it was really spectacular. A young Maori boy playing at Makatū on the football field, a farmer sitting on a tractor mowing his paddock, or a beautiful big tui, just signifying our environment. So those were the things that were on our postcards and depicted the style and what we have out there in our communities, and they were loved. People just loved them. They took them away and sent them to friends overseas, and it really was a good part of the promotion.
Can we still get them?
Oh yes, very much so. They were very popular, and we still have them on supply, and we're still very interested to feed them out into the community because they just depict so much of what the Western Bay is all about.
For more details, see the Western Bay of Plenty Council Facebook page or visit westernbay.govt.nz. Time to take a look at the weather for Friday now. Hamilton, a few showers turning to rain with nor'easterlies expected, a high of 18 degrees with 10 your overnight low. Around the region, 18 in Pāroa with 9 overnight, Matamata 17 with 9 overnight, Te Awamutu 18 and a low of 10, and 15 in Tokorua with a low of 10 overnight. Tauranga expects showers turning to rain with nor'easterlies expected and a high of 17 degrees, low of 12. And around the bay, Te Puke can expect a high of 15 degrees and 12 overnight. And that's Central News for today, Thursday the 11th of September 2014. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you join our Facebook page and let us know of news in your community. I'm Anne-Marie Case-Miller. Ka kite anō.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.